So this is the Consumer Goods Cloud Ask an Expert Hour. Today we'll be going over a new topic, and also we'll, of course, allow for any Q&A at the very end or throughout the presentation. If you haven't joined us before, just make sure you make any purchasing decisions based on products readily available. And for our agenda, I kind of went over this already, but we're going to go through our introductions and logistics of Zoom. We'll talk about our topic and then jump into some Q&A. You're also going to receive a email 24 hours after this with some follow-up resources. I know last time if you joined, it didn't get sent out for some reason. I checked at this time, it should be good. So you can always let me know. For some quick introductions, again, my name is Hayes Wither. I'm a success guide at Salesforce. I specialize in our platform and industry clouds, including Consumer Goods Cloud. And I'm here to facilitate some questions today, and then I'll pass it to you, Mark.
Thank you, Hayes. So for today, let me briefly share my screen. We have selected two topics. First of all is organization unit setup, and the second one is visit blending prerequisites and setting up. Hayes, can you please open the mic for all attendees, because this time I want to pause after a couple of slides and ask for immediate question. This is more, I think this is more useful because then we have already the context of the topic.
Yes, doing that now.
Thank you. So starting with org unit. Org units are very often used in the consumer goods industry to map sales territories. But the concept is very open because we are supporting multiple types of org unit. It means you can set up, for example, an org unit structure for your territories for sales, and for another type, for example, for your service department or for your food service department, a second structure. Secondly, must be not based on territories, because you can find logical or virtual structures as well. For example, for organizing your service department. The organization units in our industry are not static. Most manufacturers, they have some territory realignments once a year or multiple times during a year, depending on business strategies. Then in consumer goods industry, we have to deal with substitutions of sales reps. And the org unit concept in our solution is time dependent. This is a key topic. That means you can assign your users, for example, when you can see my mouse pointer, one user working for the first half year in Florida org unit, and it's already planned that this user will get responsible for the Georgia territory from beginning of July. And this is a huge challenge in our industry, because the user must be able to execute the visits based on the current assignment to Florida. But at the end of the period, he must be able to see the data for Georgia. And our solution is handling these flexibilities. That means you can assign, based on a specific period, your users to the org units, and same for the stores. Because when you have territory realignments, changing your org units, you need flexibility for assigning the stores as well. Overall, the org unit concept is sales org specific. That means market specific. And you can maintain the org units in the Salesforce system. There is no additional license required, so it's part of the enhanced data model. Best practice is to assign your field users to the lowest level of the org unit hierarchy, and assigning the stores to the lowest level of the org unit hierarchy as well. Are there any questions so far?
You can also take yourself off mute if you need to. I allowed you to talk, but you still have to take yourself off.
Thanks, Hayes. Yeah, Mark, no questions from my side. It's Luke.
Good. Hi, nice to meet you, Luke.
Nice to meet you as well.
Good. And the magic is in automation, because our solution is providing 2 batch processes, which is using the flexible information, which is time-based, and is assigning customer managers to the related account. It means the first batch process, and you can see in the footnote the Apex name, is creating the customer manager object relation, and the second batch process is creating the standard Salesforce permissions for the account teams. It means you can set up in the system the org unit based on your different periods, and the batch processes, they need to be scheduled on a daily basis. And once a user, I will go back, on July 1st, get responsible for the Georgia area, he will get all of the Salesforce permissions to all related stores, which are accounts in the same org unit. And this is required so the user can access the data in the online Salesforce system. As well, this is required for synchronization, because synchronization is depending on the same permissions and same security from Salesforce. That means the user can only get the data from the Georgia org unit to his mobile device when he has the Salesforce permission. So that's the concept. Then we have a new user persona called supervisor. So he's a team manager. And this concept will be introduced in the summer 22 release. And best practice for the team manager, for the super user assignment is to assign the supervisor to all of the org units from his team, plus from the parent org unit, which is responsible to. And this will allow the supervisor to have access, again via the batch process, to all accounts which are related and managed by his team. In this example, all accounts from the users from Florida and Georgia. And then the supervisor is able, from his mobile device or from the online system, to review and monitor the executed visits, including orders, activities from the team, and he is able to create the schedule for his team as well, online and offline. But I will focus in more detail when it comes to visit execution. Any question? This slide talks about where are we using the org unit concept. And the org unit concept in our advanced model is controlling key business processes. Some of the processes are directly impacted by the org units, while other indirectly, for example, because we are creating the permissions for the account team. So first of all, synchronization is related to a correct setup of the org units. To synchronize all of the customer master data to the offline mobile devices. And this is the prerequisite to allow offline visit planning on the mobile device. We are synchronizing the data a couple of days before the due date of the valid period of the assignment, and we are adding some days as a follow-up time. And this will allow, for example, when it's Friday and the change of the territory assignment will happen on Monday, this will allow already the week before to provide visibility to the user and allows the user to create visit planning in advance. Secondly, I mentioned already the supervisor is using the org units to get the data from his team. Then we have substitutions. For substitution, this is a process we will introduce in the summer 22 release. We are creating, or a supervisor can set up a substitution. For example, one sales rep is planning PTO and he must be substituted by one or more sales rep during his absence. And then the substitution application or the substitution module is creating temporarily org units for the substitution use. This means by adding for a limited period of time during the substitution time frame, the substitution user will be assigned to the org unit, will get all of the customers and all of the permissions automatically based on this concept in our batch processes. Then the org unit can be assigned to a sales folder to manage national or regional sales folder. So sales folder typically can be assigned to account or to a trade organization node for customer specific material, but assigning an org unit will allow you to send out sales material nationwide or to a specific region. Then we will introduce customer segmentation in summer 22. And customer segmentation is a rule-based application where you can set up rules to create reusable customer sets. And you can include account attributes such as priority, zip code, etc. Plus you can include the org unit to manage, for example, a rule where you get only customers from a specific region in your customers. Same for promotions. Typically, you are assigning promotions to an account or to account node, but you can assign an org unit via the customer segmentation to the, so it means a customer set to a promotion as well to create, for example, a national or a regional promotion. Then I already mentioned we are creating standard permission sets for accessing customer master data. And the org unit assignment is a prerequisite for visit planning processes. For example, the automatic visit planning and map-based visit planning. Any questions about the usage of the org units?
Hi, Mark.
Hi.
Yeah, should I ask first or someone else also spoke, right?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thanks, Frank. Hi, Mark. This is Kritika. I have a question. Can you repeat this regional sales folder and regional promotions again? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, no problem. So the purpose of a sales folder is to provide electronic, let me say, sales material map, and you can assign this typically to an account. That's one option. But then you have the need, for example, to send out your sales and marketing material only to a specific region, or you have a catalog of new products which is valid for the entire market. And then you can assign, instead of a customer, an org unit to a sales folder. And this will automatically distribute the sales folder when you have the org unit. I will go back here. At the top level, this has the consequence that all users in your market will have access to the sales folder, or you can assign, for example, your sales folder only to Georgia, and then only the users which are assigned to Georgia will get access to the sales folder. Does this answer your question?
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Good.
And regional promotions?
Regional promotions did the same. Typically, the promotion is assigned to an account or a trade organization node, for example, Carrefour or Kroger, Walmart, national or regional node of the account. But we are supporting regional promotions or national promotions because you can assign a customer set to a promotion. And then you can use, beginning with the summer 22 release, you can set up a segmentation rule where you are using the org unit. And as a rule, you can define you want to have all customers in the region Southeast, for example. And then you can attach this customer set Southeast to a promotion. And then the promotion will apply to all stores in the region Southeast.
Okay, so instead of assigning promotion to any specific account, we can assign it to org unit. Am I correct?
Indirect. You can assign account to a promotion, or you can assign a customer set. But the customer set can be generated via the customer segmentation from an org unit. That means the outcome is the same, but you cannot assign directly the org unit to the customer segmentation. You need to create a customer segmentation rule for your region, and then you can assign the customer set to your promotion.
Okay, okay. Thanks.
Good.
Okay, Mark, there are two questions in the chat, not in the Q&A area, but in the chat. The first one is from Christine, and the question, org hierarchy is for accounts or retail stores?
The org unit concept is part of the enhanced data model. And here the stores are accounts only. Retail stores are not supported by the org unit concept.
Okay, I think that will answer the question from Christine. Otherwise, please, Christine, speak up in the call. And the second question, Mark, for you, should the system admin be assigned to all sales orgs, or don't they need to be part of it?
Normally, there is no need for a system admin to assign the admin to all org units. This is normally not required. But depending on the size of your organization, I have seen some administrators which are managing or are responsible for a team. And if this is the case, then we are back to the slide for assigning supervisor to specific org units. But normally, when an admin is responsible for administrating the Salesforce org, there is no need to assign the admin to all org units.
Okay. Thanks, Mark.
And typically, the administrator is not working on a mobile device. That means he don't need all of the data, which is, by the way, not supported. So you cannot set up a user to all org units, and at the end you will receive 100K of customer data. So this is typically for a team manager, but not for a user which wants to have access to the entire customer base of the online system.
Okay. Thanks, Mark.
Good. This is one detail. The customer segmentation is using, based on performance and scalability reason, flattened org unit hierarchy. It means we will have the transactional objects, and we have a third batch process which is creating, based on the dynamic assignment, this flattened org unit hierarchy, but only for the use case to make the customer segmentation batch process more scalable. This is a screenshot of the online application, but there was no magic in setting up the org units. I have seen many times, because it's very time consuming to set up the org units manually, that this data will be integrated from external systems. But the application is open, that you can create your org units, that you can assign the parent and the child, assigning all of the customers and all of the org units always with a valid from and valid through. This picture provides the logical view of the data model. So here we have the org unit as the main object, and the org unit is sales org dependent. Then we have parent-child relationship to manage the org unit hierarchy. You can see here we have the flattened org unit hierarchy as a separate entity. Then we have the org unit user assignment, time dependent. And then we have the customer org unit assignment. You can see here only the accounts can be assigned, no retail stores. And then we have the batch process, which is creating the customer manager relationship. There are some limits, so up to 4,800 customers or users can be assigned to an org unit. And I want to complete this section of the session by highlighting the benefit. A very huge advantage in comparison to a static assignment of a territory is that you have the time dependency and you can blend any changes regarding user realignments, customer realignments, or complete territory realignments already now for a date in the future. There is no need that you need to maintain all of your permissions manually, because think about, you have in a big market a territory realignment, and you need to reassign your permissions one day before, the night before, manually. So this is not a great solution, but based on our batch processes, you can blend this in advance, and the batch process will automatically create your permissions. The past org unit relations are still available. That means you can use this for reporting reasons, to have the historical view of your org unit hierarchies. And multiple types of org units can be set up in one mark. For example, you have your territories for your sales team, a second hierarchy which is different for your merchandising team, and you can set up an org unit hierarchy which is working only in your HQ for your service. Before I go to the next section, are there any remaining or pending questions from you regarding org unit concepts?
Yeah, there are two questions in the chat below. Will you look into that, or should I replay it, what's written down? So the first question is coming from Ivan, but Ivan, you also can speak up if you want, but I can also explain. So the first question is from Ivan. If a user pertains to multiple org units, which they don't correspond to the same sales organization, will the user be able to see the records of the org unit that are not in the mobility sales org defined for the user?
This is not supported. A mobile user can only be assigned to one sales org. You cannot assign a mobile user to multiple sales orgs. This is not supported.
Thanks. And the second question is from Luis. As current model is based in retail stores without sales org functionality, and enhanced model is based on, sorry, I have to scroll. And the enhanced model is based on account and support sales org. It's a plan to provide any migration tool for migration customer master data from current model to enhanced model.
No, we have currently not planned any migration. It is possible to implement a subset of the features from the enhanced model, but this is not plug and play, because there are so many dependencies, for example, to your assessment task setup, and there is no automatic tool blend for the time being.
Thanks, Mark. That at the moment all questions in the chat.
Good. Thank you, Frank.
Sorry, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Galina speaking. Can you go back, please, to the flat hierarchy and give again an example of a use case for it? Is it the same as a flatten account hierarchy? The same, right?
It's the same as a flattened account hierarchy, but related to hierarchies. So because in some processes, it's hard to deal very in a very performance critic process when you have this time-dependent parent-child relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So then we have developed a batch process which is flatten org unit Northwest, or org unit in one line, US, Southeast, and Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And the use case for this is currently only that the customer segmentation can work more efficient and fast. But the relationship is available. That means if you have in your customizing the need for a high scalable process, you can use the object as well. But the core process is limited to customer segmentation.
Okay. And if it's a flatten org unit hierarchy, what is that flatten account hierarchy? I'm just trying to understand.
The flatten account hierarchy is flattening the dynamic and time-dependent customer hierarchy. And again, for selected use cases, it's more efficient and it's better for performance and scalability reasons to access the data in a flattened format instead of the dynamic format.
Okay, thanks.
Hmm?
Okay. There's one last question from Mark. So where will customer segmentation be configured? From the setup menu or from the separate part of the CG Cloud? So it's not in the setup. It is, you have to click this 9 dots on the left-hand side on the top of the application and search for customer segmentation.
Yeah, and customer segmentation is currently not in the GA release. This will become GA in summer 22. So you will not find customer segmentation in your existing org. This will become when we have GA for summer. Okay, the second part of the session today is to setting up visit planning. Again, I'm focusing today on the advanced data model. It means using the visits, including the template concept. So first of all, the application supports visit planning in the online Salesforce backoffice system, as well as on the offline mobiles. Secondly, multiple user types can use visit planning, and this is really depending on the markets. So in many projects, that the sales reps are responsible for their territory, and it's completely up to the sales rep how they are, let me say, planning their schedule based on their target. While in other markets, it's the opposite, or let me say a user role merchandiser. There is always a team manager or a supervisor which creates the visit schedule, let me say, for a merchandiser or a sales rep in a specific region. And the sales rep or the merchandiser, they can only execute the pre-planned visits. In most cases, it's allowed to change the sequence, but typically it's not allowed to, let me say, move the visits around and change the complete visit schedule by their own. But again, depending on the market and on the user persona, our solution supports both. It means the field user itself is able to plan, or his boss can plan. The application supports multiple options for visit planning, and I will highlight each single topic in more detail. Automatic visit planning is based on customer settings and is related to the assigned accounts of a user from the org unit and creates an entire weekly plan. Trip list planning is a concept to create manually a trip list for a day or for the entire week, but this is more or less maintained manually. Then we will introduce a job list planning option with the summer release. It means you can set up activities, and for a specific type of activities, the user will see an explicit task to execute a visit. And then it's up to the user to use the task and transform the task into a visit. Then for sure, manual visit planning is supported by selecting from the calendar the list of managed stores, or just from drop-down list from a lookup. Then we have this map-based visit planning, where a user can see his managed accounts in a map. He can filter based on customer attributes and KPIs, the most relevant ones. And finally, in the summer release, we are highlighting the overdue customers based on the visit frequency, which have been not visited as expected. And then there is the option to blend the overdue customers. The last two ones, map-based planning and planning overdue customers, is only available on the offline device, while all other planning options can be executed online and offline. The starting point for online visit planning is the visit overview. In the list view, simply select all and you will see all supported visit planning options. While on the offline device, you can go to the calendar, and in the context menu of the calendar, you will see, for example, the option to create automatic visit plans, to create visits based on job lists or on trip lists. Frank, are there any questions in the chat? Or partners, do you have some ad hoc questions? I see one question regarding summer 22 release date. GA date is early August. We will inform you for the case we can provide the managed package earlier, but latest first week of August, we will go GA with summer 22 for retail execution.
Thanks, Mark. And there's one more question. Unfortunately, my microphone was muted. Even I unmuted myself. So there's another question. It's related to the offline planning. And there's the question is, can the offline planning be integrated with calendar, such as Outlook calendar? The answer is currently no, right?
There are tools available from the standard platform, which allows you to synchronize Exchange or Outlook appointments with Salesforce objects. So this can be used. But there was no specific functionality available, for example, on the offline mobile device where you can sync on the offline device. This, you are right, this is not supported, but based on the online system, synchronizing the data from the users between Outlook and Salesforce, there was standard Outlook sync tool available. Not from CG Cloud, but based on the standard platform.
I think this will answer your question, Christine. Otherwise, please feel free to speak up. And that's all what's currently in the chat, Mark.
Okay, good. Some generic hints for setting up visit planning. You need to have the correct permission sets for the user. For example, it's important when you have supervisors in the summer release to assign the correct permission set, because otherwise, when you are in the online system and you want to plan the visit schedule for the team, you will not see the lookup to select the user from the team. Equally important for the supervisors is this setting, this custom setting, where you need to disable the role hierarchy. Then, as I mentioned before, you must assign user and customer to org unit. All users, customers must be assigned to the same sales org. It's recommended to schedule the batch processes on a daily basis to have always updated your customer manager relationship and permissions to the Salesforce account teams by executing these two batch processes. Here I will provide more details regarding the automatic visit planning. The first area of settings, so all of the settings are part of the customer visit setting. Customer visit setting, you can see here in the screenshot, is part of the account, specific entity of the account. And it's key that your record is active, valid for the planning time frame. You must map the user to the management type where you have set up in the settings. You must select a planning mode. It's typically you're using starting week of a year, for example, beginning with week 1 or week 2, or you can plan your visit depending on the last visit, and you must assign a frequency. Frequency is managed on a weekly basis, bi-weekly, monthly, etc. And then you must assign parameters which are used by the system, the dark blue ones, when the application is creating the automatic visit. So the amber ones are parameters to find the correct customers, and the dark blue ones are parameters which are the system, is the system using for creating the customers. That means you can set up here the visit template. You can set up the duration, the expected duration for the visit. You can set up the weekday and the time of the day. And by using all these parameters, the system will execute automatically the planning and will create the visit schedule based on the parameters by user on a weekly basis. Next planning option is trip list planning. Trip list planning, you can set up the trip lists in the Salesforce online system. As I mentioned before, 2 types of trip lists are supported. You can set up a daily trip list, which can be used by the user to create tour or a trip for a selected day. So he can drag and drop the trip list in his calendar, and the application creates the customers in a given sequence for a selected day. Or you can set up a trip list for an entire week, and then you can specify the weekday. You can group the trip list by weekday, and for each weekday you have a sort sequence. And then it's one drag and drop for creating the entire week based on a weekly trip. When you are creating the trip lists online, the owner of the trip list will get the data automatically synchronized to the offline device. It means when the user is logging into the online system, is creating his own trip list, is synchronizing back, then he will see the data. But a generic administrator, when he will create the trip list for a user, then there is the need to change the user to the sales rep, but only for the online system. The functionality is available in a more convenient way on the offline device as well. It means the sales rep can go to the calendar, can manually plan a visit schedule, and can then create a trip list based on this blueprint. And then he has created a reusable trip list, which he can use for future weeks as well. This is a very convenient way for the sales rep to use the calendar to plan a blueprint for the visits and reuse this for the future.
Mark, sorry for jumping in. There are 2 questions in the Q&A section. One of them is from Peter, and unfortunately Peter has some problems with his microphone, therefore he cannot speak up. First question, what is the maximum time for automated visit? Was the visit up to 1 month or longer?
No, you can plan up for the next and the week after the visits in advance. That's the default behavior.
Okay. The second question is against regarding the summer release. So seems to have some problems. So he said you mentioned the release will coming up in August. He was under the assumption it would be early July, as this was set at AAE and Partner Portal. Do you know where this misunderstanding is coming from? Why in some area we are talking another date?
Yeah, maybe the information comes from my side. I used the internal GA date in the past. But the external GA date is August, but I see definitely a high probability that we will provide a summer release already in July. But I cannot confirm that it's the first week of July. Most likely between July and August, so mid-July most likely.
Okay, thanks, Mark. That are all questions at the moment.
Good. Then we have a very sophisticated tool called map-based planning. So the focus of the session today is not to explain all of the functionality. The focus is more how to set up, and map-based planning is already part of the spring release, and in the summer release, we will add additional KPIs in the map-based planning screen. For example, we added out-of-stock issues or distribution issues or activities. And the mobile application is providing pre-configured attributes from customer master. For example, the name of the customer or the priority. Secondly, another out-of-the-box configuration is to use the current location of the user to support a use case when the user is executing his visits in the middle of a day. he got some cancellations or store managers are unavailable, so he has additional time during the day. And then it's a cool feature using the distance search to find only the customers which are located less than 10, 50 or 20 miles in the area of the sales rep. And on top of this, he can activate some pre-calculated KPIs to find out the most relevant of his customers close to his location. And then finally, he can click on a pin, he can receive more details, and then he can create on a visit to create visits for the most relevant customers. So to extend these features, you can use your modeler. You can add additional attributes related to the customer. For example, you can include zip code, city, etc. And you can include additional KPIs. It's a little bit performance critical. We have pre-calculated KPIs where we will update when a user is completing a visit. It means when you have a filter, you want to see only customers with distribution issues. This can be translated. All customers which from the last visit have out of stock rate higher than a certain threshold. And we are using the threshold of 12% for out of stock issues as a default and distribution rate less than 92% as a threshold. But you can use the modeler. You can, as I mentioned before, add new filters, remove filters, add the threshold. So it's completely open, but you need modular skills to modify the filter and KPI in this section. So it's not hard-coded, the filter. You can modify this. Frank, are there any questions?
No questions so far. Neither in the chat nor in the Q&A session.
Good. Then the application in the advanced model is supporting customer visits and non-customer visits. So for the non-customer visits, you can create, for example, entry in your schedule for sickness, for blend PTO, for blend training, or for any kind of unproductive times. You can document, for example, your breaks if you want. The non-customer visits will be included in a tool which will be introduced in the summer release called Daily Report or Time Card. This is to have an aggregated view of the time utilization for the user. It's for the user itself and for the supervisors. The supervisor, they have visibility to daily report and time card of the users as well. The non-customer visits are based on the standard events object. So you will not find corresponding visit records. While from the advanced model, all customer-based visits, you will find a visit record plus one-to-one event record. Now a couple of hints. Salesforce acquired 1 year ago Accenture Cloud, and we did harmonization in master data and in the visit object. And in the visit object, there was a kind of business logic which has required a specific place. So the prerequisite for using the visits in the advanced model is to set up a default location, one record with the name default location, and this is part of the setup. So you will see when you have executed your setup automatically this default location record. And then the new business logic will automatically use the default location record as a reference for all visits. But if you are intending to integrate visits via API, or maybe you get integrated from an ERP system, pre-blend visits, then you must take care that you are using the reference in the integration for the default location as well. So it's mandatory field. And then there was another table called Sales Org User Settings. And in Sales Org User Settings, you will find attributes, for example, the working days and working time for users, which are used in the automatic call planning, and the same settings are used as well in the time window to synchronize, where we are synchronizing the customer data with all of the dependent data to the offline devices. So this is an important entity as well. Here again is the logical data model view for visit. So this is about visit with a customer relationship. We have a one-to-one relationship, visit and event. Visit is related to sales org and depending on customer visit settings. Visits can be created manually or based on trip list object using trip lists and trip list customer or on job lists. And a visit, an advanced visit is always assigned to a visit template, and the sales org is assigned to an account and not to a retail store. And
yeah, Mark, let me jump in on that. There are two questions.
So we have 5 minutes left. Are there remaining questions? So hopefully we covered most of the questions already during the session.
Yes, Mark, there are two questions. One is in the Q&A section from Peter. Can the KPI threshold also be used for automatic visit planning or trip list planning?
Frank, have you collected open topics?
Yes. Mark, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Frank.
We can hear you, yeah.
Okay, then looks like Mark is not able to hear me. So let me check.
There was one question regarding visits and events. I already covered this. Then there was a question from Loy. Will be trip list disposal only for enhanced model, and the map-based planning in offline model is another tool different to maps tool disposal currently for current model. Trip lists and map-based planning are related to the enhanced model and will be not available for the standard visits which are related to retail stores. It's only for the advanced model. And the map-based planning is not replacing Salesforce maps. So in Salesforce maps, for example, you can plan based on automatic planning trip list or manually trip lists, and then you can use Salesforce maps to optimize, for example, the route and synchronize back the changed sequence. But this is not the out-of-the-box functionality provided by Salesforce maps, so there is some customization. Then another question is about, is there an object available for time card tracking? Yes, this will be part of the summer 22 release. The feature is called time card, and we will track time utilization of the user. It means all productive visits will be aggregated in the time card, same as all unproductive times. Good. I think we covered all of the questions.
Mark, can you hear me now?
Hayes, you will share the recording via Taylor. He will share this in the partner channel again.
Yep, I'll make sure to send that over.
Hayes, can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah, Mark, we can. I don't think Mark can hear us.
Yeah, that is the issue. At the moment, Mark is not able to. So I also try to ping him over all channels I have, but unfortunately he does not see potentially my chat messages as he is presenting.
Yeah, we'll make sure that the recording goes out, and I'll make sure to send that over. But we don't have any other questions, correct? So we can.
There are some questions in the Q&A section, and potentially would be helpful. Mark could also have a look to that.
Thomas, can you hear me?
Hi, Mark. We can hear you.
Yes, Mark, I can, but you can't hear me.
Can you hear me again?
No. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear us? Maybe turn the volume on your machine.
Hello, Thomas, can you hear me? Okay, so I can't hear you any longer. Thomas, can you say something again, please?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, okay. Okay, but you have you were able to hear my responses to the
Yes, we heard all your responses, and there are 3 remaining questions in the Q&A.
Okay.
If you could just finally take a quick look at it.
Yeah.
So first of all, are we sharing the deck as well, Mark? Like we did in the Ask the Expert session? Or I think so, right? It's not loading the recording. but I'm not sure.
Taylor, I will definitely provide the deck and Taste, and feel free to share this.
Yeah, then let's also
if you can provide the deck and the recording, I think between Mark and Hayes, I can post it to the partner community when that becomes available.
Very good. So Hayes, you have access to the deck. Please share the deck with Taylor.
Okay.
Okay. Next question was, how can I assign promotion to a customer set? It's the other way around. You can set up a promotion and you can assign a customer set to a promotion. And in order to create a customer set, you can create a customer set manually by assigning your accounts to the customer set in the spring release, and can assign this customer set to a promotion, while in the summer release, you can assign, you can create a rule, execute customer segmentation, and then you have this dynamic customer set, which can be assigned to a promotion as well. Yeah, there was a question from Peter regarding Salesforce maps. The existing model can be used to create automatically visits out from Salesforce maps. Currently, we don't support this for the advanced model. So for the advanced model, we are providing all of the different planning options you have learned in this session. And then you can synchronize the data to the online system. You can customize Salesforce maps to optimize the route, and then synchronize the data. Most likely, it is possible as well to create the advanced visit by customization, but it's not an out-of-the-box function. And another question from Peter, can the KPI threshold also be used for automatic visit planning or trip list planning? No, trip list planning is a pure manual process, and automatic visit is based on the frequency. However, in the trip list, there is a lookup to the customer. And in the lookup to the customer, you can include some KPIs to filter the customer. That means indirectly, you can use some of the pre-configured or pre-calculated KPIs when you are selecting your trip. Okay. Hope this was useful. And any feedback from the partners? Was this helpful? Too much detail, or do you expect more detail for the future?
I mean, the only option you have is just to write something like a feedback into the chat window. I'm not sure if we are able to unmute you all, but it would be much appreciated if you just would leave one or the other comment into the chat window, maybe.
Yeah.
So what I see in the chat, so the most of them which are answered, that was very helpful. For some, there was one ask to have potentially, beside to the PowerPoint presentation, also some kind of live demo in the org to see it over there. This is one topic.
Okay, good.
And I think the other part, which Robin mentioned, there was some trouble on his side, and he has to re-register to that. So Robin, for you, the session was recorded and will be available in the partner portal and so on. And you should be able to replay on that.
Okay, so thanks for the feedback. Yeah, regarding demo of functionality, in 2 weeks, June 30th, we will have our partner webinar where we will present Summer 22. The focus is mainly on a live demo of the new functionality capabilities. Session Ask the Expert is more to explain how to configure, providing hints how to implement topics, but the demo will be part of the partner webinar. Okay.
Yes, I think.
We also announced the next Ask the Expert session next week already as a last announcement, or did we already do that? Sorry, I joined a little bit late.
Not today, but yeah, it's currently we have a weekly schedule for the Ask the Expert session.
So the next one will be in a week from now?
Yeah.
Okay, and you'll find the invites or the announcements in the partner portal as well. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks all. Good. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.